the Breakfast Creek Hotel in Brisbane. John Walter, welcome to the Punter Show.
Perfect.
And it's welcome to the Punter Show, not just even on the camera, but welcome as part of the services, a new edition. This is you're into your second week involved with us, mate, and welcome aboard. It was a good start.
Yeah. Something different. There's we'll only get better. It was good working with Darren for the first time. And he's already, got in touch with me, and I've learned a lot, so it should only get better from here.
Beautiful. Now, I think Mark made the comment on the show. There's so many people out there betting around that you don't really aware of, but you sort of have been involved in the Sydney Ring for a while. For those who don't know you, your history, obviously professional punting is all part of it, and it's all what's part of anybody who's involved with us. Bit of, I suppose, the easiest for you to tell the story than me tell the story.
Yeah, well, I'm sort of the product of a degenerate father who left me in a lot of pubs early, and then I was at an interest with him, and he was not a big punter, but he was pretty keen on it, so started from there, and then a couple of sick punters at the golf courses got me and take me out on Saturdays. We'd be first group out Saturday, and then we'd be straight to the races, and started out betting very small, and then met a few people betting for a few guys, and I think I didn't miss a meeting for about 5 years, which just made me pretty sick, I guess. But, all the big country provincials were my favourites, and started betting in it like a syndicate for a guy, and then I got a guy come and approached me at the races one day and said, "Do you want to come and do an interview for a job or something?" I was not really sure what he was talking about, and I thought, why not go and do back alley at Chinatown in Sydney and do this weird test, and I'm like, what's going on here? I wasn't really sure, and it ended up being Humbleton, which was the Jelco thing, and did that for a couple of years, which was really, really good. Like, learnt a lot. It was a strange little company, and I didn't really fit in too well there, so...
Were you allowed to use your name, or did you just have a number?
Yeah, a bit of a number thing, and then it was a bit of a mates club in there, the way they were sort of running and stuff. It was all, like, everything they did was incredible, and the amount of money they spent there was insane, but it's, it was just not my thing, so moved on from there, and ended up jumping the fence to the bookmaking side of it, which was great, and learned a lot there as well. It's very polar opposite, and trying to reverse thinking, which is good. When you don't really think, when you're thinking like a punter, it's just a very different sort of landscape to when you're thinking as a bookmaker. Everything's now running for you, which was good. And
so those professional punting was sort of a bit of an evolution. It started off there and there, and went to there, and then evolved into what it is for you today.
Absolutely. I had the best deal ever coming through, and it was probably what kicked me on. I'd found a guy at the races, nicest guy ever, and we had a 50% deal, whereas we won 5,000 today and lost 5,000 tomorrow. I still got 2,500, and
that sounds fair enough.
It was the greatest deal ever, and unfortunately he got cancer, and they gave him a year to live, and he died 1 year and 1 day later.
Is that right? Yeah, well, it's overs anyway, I suppose.
yeah. But that was when I ended up going to Jelco from there, because that ended, but it was probably the best thing for me, not for him, unfortunately, that ever happened, but yeah.
And you've worked with a lot of, worked closely with a lot of people who associate with us, and mates of ours, with Steve Fletcher, of course, Michael Cook you run around with, and they all give you glowing references, and you can't come on the Punter Show without having glowing references.
Of course. A couple of years with Fletcher and learned a lot from him. He's incredible the way he operates.
Just amazing the mathematics behind the way that Fletch thinks, isn't it? I don't think you'd want to be taking Fletch on in anything in a game of gambling that involves gambling, wagering, or anything.
Definitely not, because not only you've got to beat him mentally, you've also got to wonder how much start he's got, where he's been, whether it's all not just mythical, and whether it's all an illusion what you're looking at. Fletcher's not the man to be taking on at anything.
No, exactly. But I mean, you've been through that, and as you just mentioned to me before, you're part of the Warren Woodcock team, which has produced Kingsley Bartholomew, Sean Bartholomew, Fletch, Richie Irvine, and I didn't know that you were part of it, and now we're going to add you to the list.
Richie was just before me, I think, and then I didn't last as long as I think those guys did, but Warren was an enigma, a very incredible human being. He's one of a kind at the races, and No, it wouldn't be the same place without him. You know,
Yeah.
all these crazy double tickets and biscuits flying everywhere. He's a crazy guy.
Still lollipops there. There's still lollipops there and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Should mention actually, just off the top, we've got a special offer. We'll get to. This is about introducing John, and also, with one of our the chats that we really enjoy having about talking to a professional punter and getting insight to them. But we've also got an offer this week. If you're watching it this week, part of Pro Better Live, which you're now part of, which we'll explain more of as we go around. This week being the week leading into the 20-something of August. If you buy any product through the Punters Show, One to Follow, whatever the two, which is worth $20 or more, you actually get free entry into the Pro Better Live site, which will get your set, which will get Darren's set, which will also get the chat room stuff as well too, which we'll talk about in a sec. But it's just from your little experience into it. It's a really good way of spending an afternoon if you're trying to get a professional insight into things.
It's completely unique to anything I've ever seen. You combine the information, the live information, the changes that obviously happen throughout the day, the mounting stuff. It's very, very different to anything I've seen and very complete. It's good.
Beautiful. Well, we'll get to that in a sec. All right, lovely. Well, let's just talk about some of your stuff and from the history and what you've done. Basically, the challenges. I suppose the challenges of being a professional punter these days. What do you find the difficult things, and I suppose getting on is the normal.
The key. And funnily, talking to Darren yesterday, he says he works on limited amount of meetings now because he simply can't get on.
Yeah.
I try, and my more forte is the country provincials and then the metropolitan racing. So it's a bit like you got to battle on. You got to try and keep doing it, and you just have to scale down because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? Because I mean, it is a hard enough game to try to back a winner and follow the form and do the form, rather than having to try to then find out a way that you can invest money rather than. And nobody's asking to be able to get millions on, but it's just somewhere in the mix of it. We don't. The idea of a fair bet's gone out.
The actual punter's no longer respected. It's not even you're just garbage to be thrown away. That's just how it is. But they spend millions a week on advertising that they don't want to lose to anyone. So they'd rather discard you.
Apart from your punting, you've been running a sort of a tipping service, I suppose.
Yeah.
It hasn't been a massively public one, but it's been a highly successful one anyway.
Yeah, it was sort of private, had a few limited clients for quite a while, and then did a few sort of free things to build a sort of database for the bookmaking side of things along the way, and then turned it into a more paid, consistent service earlier this year.
Yeah, perfect. Well, now, your set, it's a very impressive looking set. Everybody who sees it, it's good information, but it bloody well looks good too.
It's wish it was quicker to produce.
It looks like it isn't all that quick to produce.
No, a couple of late nights, Thursdays the last few weeks, but I'll sort of streamlining that hopefully when I get my IT guy out of his slumber or wherever he's been for the last few weeks too. I can get into it on a Wednesday rather than a Thursday. Then life will be much easier. But no, it's good. It's good fun to do too, and it makes you go over everything meticulously. You don't, things that you might have missed, you pick up just by producing it. So it's good.
All right, lovely. And also part of the other service too, you will have a $20 service, which we'll talk about as well too. Basically, what your best view for all New South Wales country meetings, really, all New South Wales meetings.
Yeah, mainly focused on New South Wales all the time. Every now and then we'll pick something up. And Saturdays we go a little bit more wider on the interstate. But during the week it's definitely country provincial New South Wales.
And that'll be just like most of our $20 services. That'll just be straight line to, and you actually do include units in those bits too, do you?
Yeah, suggested taking, try and hold everyone's hand all the way through for the people who want it. The people who don't, we provide pretty good, detail about why we've made these selections for people who want to make their own decisions.
Perfect, and that'll be available soon. Anyway, before we do the sell, we'll do it at the end, and you'll be hearing a lot of the sell coming up soon. But you can leave that to me. You don't have to do that. Let's talk about some of the theories. Where do you start? I suppose is the best thing. You've got a race meeting coming up. Where does it all start?
I don't know whether I'm unique, but I'm pretty hands-on with vision, and I like vision and sort of go backwards from there. So I like to review meetings, and then I'll look at it with my eye, then go back and try and prove whether it's true or not, which is from the Jelco days. From is it real? Is it real? And then
is it real is a great term, isn't it?
So you'll pen it, and it works both ways. You'll find something that looks impressive to your eye and will look impressive to everyone's eye, then find out it's not real. No. So then you've also, it's one way or the other, you've got a good target for next time. And I tend to think I know the jockeys, trainers, everyone in New South Wales especially really well. So their structure, the way they set their horses, why they've taken this horse there, why they've put this jockey on. A lot of jockey changes, track changes, things like that are really important to the way I do things. I'm not so like ratings and things like that. I'll look at them from time to time, but not really part of mine.
So generally, just there, you're sounding like it's a bit more a manual process than a
completely manual.
Yeah.
Everything is completely
so
manual.
really getting that, as I know Snowy's mentioned, and it's what I like doing, is really concentrating on a certain jurisdiction and really knowing and immersing yourself in it.
Yeah,
and
it becomes more of a feel thing than a numbers based thing where you're just you don't really have an opinion of your own. You've got a computer telling you what their opinion is, which is great for a lot of people. It works for a lot of people, but I can't get my head around it.
You talk about, say that you go back to your Gelco days. One of the big things about Gelco's thing is maps and speed and race shape and all that. Is that something that you've carried through?
Massively. Like, if tracks is the most important. Like, if I'll because it doesn't mean a lot at some places, like maps, you can sit wide, you can get at the fence, you can do everything, but when you've got some bias, like you get to Cessnock or things like that, you want to be things on pace, and maps are really important, those sort of places. And then when they're switching around, which is great, but maps are really important. But that's the same sort of thing once you get to know the jockeys, the horses, you know what they can do.
And just what I was just going to add in there, cut in there, knowing the track as well too.
Yeah, that's right. So you've got some jockeys just don't push, and they don't understand.
No.
And you've got a horse, so like they're coming off a horse that they've been riding in something that's critical, so a 900,000 metre race where they need to be there. Then all of a sudden they've got a jockey that understands it. It's a huge advantage. It's nothing to do with the horse really. The horse just does the same thing every time.
Lovely. And you obviously put a price on. Well, just back to bias. The ways that you look at bias. What are some of the keys that you can offer people to actually assess bias and how you use it as your friend?
Biases are quite consistent, really, and you've got to if you keep your own sort of track of them, like rail positions and tracks, especially in New South Wales. Rail goes out at Gosford to lead a fence, and there's nothing more to it.
Hang on, he just made the biggest revelation of all time. Did you hear that, everyone?
You get horses that are going to be last and wide, and they're 3 and 4 to 1 every start round there. You just don't know why. But
you just knock the percentage out, can't you?
And it's just simple as that. You've got to take it as gospel. If your horse is not on pace and it's drawn wide at Gosford those days, just stay away from it.
Yeah. So do you like to go? Think you can go into a meeting with a good, solid, confident, preconceived idea. You know how the track's going to play.
Yeah.
Rather than wait for 4 races down the track to go, this is how it's played.
Well, you get places with lanes like Randwick and things like that, which are a nightmare. You can't go in there. You can go in there with some sort of preconceived idea, but you've got to go in there really versatile. And other places you don't. Like most of the country and provincial places are really consistent. And it's more the metropolitan racing where you get lanes and changing biases and things all the time, which makes
and then you got to be able
adapt.
to find it. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right. That's the same. Like that's the Gelco thing. You go back and you review a race straight away, and you go, why was this horse this price? Did I believe it should have been that price before the race?
Yep.
So you've got your own idea, and then why didn't it do, or why did it do what it did in that first couple of races? And you can pick up a bias pretty easily just by doing that. If your horse is not done what you thought it would do, maybe there's something there. For the next race or other horses in the same race are in similar conditions and they haven't done the same, then good chance there's a bias.
One thing we haven't really spoken a lot about on the show, which is quite amazing, is actually framing a market. We put a basic article up about it. How do you actually go about putting a price list to a horse?
Same. I work backwards, same sort of thing. So I'll do the form for the race, and then I'll do a map, and I'll try and work out whether there's a bias or something like that. Try and get the whole set together, and then work out basically how many times I think which horse should win the race. If this happens, will this how many times will that horse win? So I work backwards. If I think a favourite should be even money and 50% out, then you're working backwards from there and to your roughies. So sometimes you think you get a feel that I think this horse has an even money chance, then I'm going to mark it even to then work around it. Absolutely.
Or I think it's a race with a bit of a tail, so I'm going to put millions, and then work out the rest of it. So it just depends on how you're getting that feel for that race.
I worry more about the horses I give a winning chance to, that's for sure, and then plug the rest in around it. And that's if everyone's got a chance in every race, obviously, but a lot, especially country provincial, there is a massive tail, so it's great. So it's very different than metropolitan racing.
And when you're doing your first run through, I think this is where a lot of people get turned off by it, because they think the finite thing. just you put your polish on right at the end, do you, and just really get a rough order originally, rather than being too anal, I suppose, about it, and too specific through the early stages
it's
of it?
really impossible, because you can get really wrapped up in a horse early, and then all of a sudden you're finding things down the line that are, that are affecting it. So I try and do the whole race and then start again, basically.
Exactly. You sort of roughly rank them, and then knock the edge off to get to your end point, rather than try to get to your end point at the first
Exactly.
one.
If you're doing them individually, you're sort of tunnel visioning, and if you do it as a whole and then move back to individual, you pick up things you might have missed the first time around. You're like, oh, hang on, maybe this will not get a really soft lead like I thought it would originally. There's a bit of pressure, there's this, that, and it affects your price.
What do you think? I mean, because I know a lot of people that do the Foreman are really keen on it. Putting a price on it is actually the ultimate thing about it. It's the ultimate.
Whether you're
it's the distillation.
It's
a distillation of where your thoughts are at with it, isn't it?
And it's the truest. If you say to yourself, I believe this is an even money chance, that's all you should believe. Whereas, and then you get fed, you're always hearing things you do all the time, it drives you mad. But at the end of the day, that's what you believe. And if a horse comes up $4 and you've got it even, and you're not betting, there's a problem.
On that, do you like to blend, and obviously most of us all have great respect for the market. Do you factor that into your thoughts, or
the market is it's metropolitan racing 100%. Country and provincial not as much, because I don't believe on Betfair and things like that. I think it's just an opinion of a very limited amount of people.
It's not that real hardcore. No, everybody isn't having a crack.
6 to 4 to 4 to 1 at Tamworth doesn't mean a lot. It's just a couple of people who've got an opinion on Betfair, whereas 6 to 4 to 4 to 1 at Randwick on Saturday is your horse in hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
And 1 in 50 might win or something, or whatever it is, but it means something in the provincials. You've got to stick to your own thoughts, really. Otherwise, that'll drive you mad. Otherwise, you're better off not looking at it.
Now, that probably takes us to the next point, and probably the difference between professional punting, winning punters and losing punters, is the staking. Staking methods. Obviously, we've got our PBL system that is a lot Kelly criterion based.
I talked to Darren about that yesterday, with the way he did it, which was really interesting. And I'm not falling in line with him, but I would. It's a good idea, to keep everything smooth. I'm going to do something similar, and it's not dissimilar to what I would do myself. That's great.
But how important? I mean, it is. With all of that, I mean, rubbish in is rubbish out. Whether you do the form and whatever your staking plan, if it's rubbish out, it's no good. But that staking plan, really, having a correct staking plan and a correct methodology to it would.
Well, attempting to take advantage of your advantage when you have it is the key. If you're having 100 bowlers on every bet, it just doesn't make sense. At the end of the year, you might win, you might lose, but you're not. And if you've got an opinion that has an advantage over the rest of the market, you have to push that, and that's the only way you finish ahead.
And another great challenge of being a professional punter is the mental state.
Massive.
How do you deal with it? I know you're good friends with the person we mentioned on the show a lot, called the tennis player, whose mental state makes Glenn Pollard at times look like a very sane person.
Quick story I always love to tell about him. We went to the races one day and share opinion all the time and whatever, and he's very strong in his opinion. 9 races, we bet an 8. We backed the first 7 winners. The last winner we missed, ran second, and I can't remember the name. It started with D. Anyway, McDonald's on the way home. I'm like, mate, can you? And he's the one handling the money, as he always does. Sorry, mate, don't have $1. Well, what do you mean at all? We're not. And that's how he is, and his number plate's like all up 1 or something.
All up 8.
Because there's 8 races on the program.
Yeah, you can see it at the front of the Manly Emporium.
That's how he lives. That's how he lives. He's all up. And that's how he's always lived. He'll never change.
But so how do you deal with the mental side of things? Good days, bad days. Obviously, it's a game that you can't have. It's impossible not to have a bad run.
And it's brutal, it's brutal, and it can be, and you've got to deal with like jockeys and things, or even just things go according to plan and still something strange happens. It's kind of, you've got to try and be not emotional, and I'm pretty emotional, and I love sports my whole life. Whatever you get right into things, it feels like a sport to me. This is why I love it so much, and it's difficult, but you must keep it out of your betting side of things, otherwise you will. Things will go astray very quickly.
There is no last race.
No, that's the thing. That is the thing. At the end of the day, it's very difficult to differentiate that, but that is the truth. I get emails all the time from subscribers and things, and they're like, "Oh, you've had a bad day," and it really is. It's race 8 of
Yeah,
4,000.
that's
It's not,
right.
It's not race 8 of 8, you know. So it's
Exactly right, and I think that's the thing. I mean, I'd imagine most people who are watching the Punter Show, even though we're getting a lot more newer people on, and that's the message: is that just because you're buying professional service, you're not going to win every day. We're not.
not
We are going to have strip outs. We look at it over a period of whether it's 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, or lifetime, or whatever it is, and that's how. If you start thinking that way, then you can turn this into something you can make tax-free dollars.
Absolutely.
Lovely. Now let's.
That's how that is how the staking plans and everything, they don't take into account the day.
No.
They take into account that race.
Exactly.
And that horse and the price that horse is opposed to our price, and not winning on the day.
No, that's right.
So
No. You'll never see us just jump in and say, okay, well we've done 20 units on the day, so we're going to have 20 units on the even money
title.
on the even money favourite to get square. No, that's not going to happen. It's going to. I mean, look, there's never any guarantees in this game, but there's as much as a guarantee if you're following what any of these professional products we put out there, and this one especially, because with what we're doing now, and it's time to start talking about the product, which is called Pro Better Live. It's different to a lot of things in that we can evolve through the day of it. There's so many times, even just doing the preview show, that have been frustrated when you say, I don't like this horse, and you end up backing it, and you think, oh shit, you know, you've told everybody out there, I hate it, but then come race time, because things have changed, or this has happened, or a horse has come out that's affected the pace, or blah 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 blah, and then suddenly you think, this is immoral. And that's the beauty of Pro Better Life.
Well, betting on that's it. Like there was horse that Saturday start wondering, or still wondering.
Yeah, start wondering, yeah.
Like you'd think, well, barrier 14, it's pretty short in the market, you think it might get the drift, but all of a sudden, market's fought early, you just know, and once it continued, you just knew it was a very, very good horse.
And also too, for the Pro Better Life thing, we try to bring you who's actually backing what. When you knew that Rob Waterhouse was on a New Zealand horse with that, and he was on it and then on it again and then again, you're saying, well, it's with $2.90 or whatever that's still sounding like a good
I might
price.
have had it priced at 5 to 2 or 3 to 1 or whatever it was, but once you saw that, I knew I was wrong straight away. Straight away.
Yeah, exactly. Which and that's the beauty of the Pro Better Life thing, is that we can do that. We use the information from the mounting yard, information from the betting ring, the information of any changes throughout the day.
Yeah, I'm in the Gold Coast, so there's no way I'm going to know a lot of that without it. So.
But it is conveyed quite easily, and also too, as it gets bigger, you've got the ability to actually ask us questions as well too throughout. So, like if there's a specific horse that we might not have mentioned, in the thing you get all the sets beforehand, so you know where we're thinking. You might have something priced big odds that's short price, and somebody might like it. Ask the reason why. Yeah. It's easy. You know, it's a good way of communication. That applies to Sydney and also for Melbourne. So you get all of the stuff from either me or Glenn in the mounting yard in Sydney. Warren Huntley sends through all his stuff, all the key runners. And again, you might have a key runner that you want to talk about, that you want to know something from the yard that might not have been on our list of horses to talk about, and we'll bring that to you as well too. So, as you said, it's all encompassing, it's involving, and you'll nominate some early bets, obviously, but then we lock them in just beforehand.
Yeah, there's some crazy. I can't believe how volatile the market is on Saturdays at the moment. So things will change, but and I've got to get my head around that, because it's difficult. I find it difficult to. You've told someone to do something in the morning, and then you're changing, but you have to.
That's
because of the whole everything changes.
And what we have found, and it's a great compliment now that because we're sort of just doing it without you and just Darren doing both. But it's a great compliment, because obviously Darren's doing his form there. We're all across the form in Melbourne as well too. Yeah. Well, it's just not our specialty, but then we can bounce off each other as well too. And one thing that we have found in the early stages of it is that the unit, the percentage win, or the profit on turnover, I should say, has increased by the changes we've made. Yeah. So it's not as if we're making changes and they're going backwards. The changes have actually increased profit. So, and every extra little percent or two you can get out of this game, it's a beauty. It's a beauty. Anyway, mate. We'll look forward to it. It's going to be. It looks like it's. The weather's. Well, we're sitting in Queensland here, so the weather's great. But the weather has been good in Sydney. We might have some 25-degree days later in the week, and it seems like everybody's got their eye on it. I think we've all got a really good. The team in general, now that you're part of the Punter Show team, everyone's feeling good about it, and I think it's
good tracks, good horses, everything's happening.
Yeah, lovely, cool. So jump on board now. Remember that special offer if you are watching it this week, which this will be on for a long time, and hopefully you've had a great insight from John. Is that you sign up this week for any $20 product or more, and you will get free entry into PBL, and you will be able to see for yourself what we're all talking about. You can watch it on your phone. Basically, it just comes up easy on the computer, easy on the phone, easy on a tablet. It just comes up, it just scrolls down. Don't be scared about the technology. It's very easy. You just go, click in, log in, bingo, you're there, and it just scrolls down the whole way through, and away you go. And if you want to say anything, you just post a comment, press return, and we come back to you. It's easy.
Easy.
Beautiful, John. Thank you for being on board.
Too easy.
Good to see you, mate. And look forward to a on and up one. And remember the $20 product too, which will be launching this week. I would say probably the first day will be Friday for that. Sounded right?
I know too. We're all inexperienced.
Yeah, that sounds fine. So so the $20 product, sign up for that. So if you sign up for that, you get Pro Better Live on Saturday for free as well too. That's the easy way to do it.
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you very much.